Hey guys!
Hi!
It's Cauliflower.
And Chris.
He finally said it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Collie Chats. This week we have to dedicate our collie fell. We fixed it.
No, the tripod didn't fall. Is that the camera?
It fell. Just
The tripod spit it at us.
it literally lunged it at us.
I can't take it anymore.
I don't know.
I don't want to shoot any more videos.
Exactly. This poor thing goes through so
And
much.
committed suicide.
So
Anyway.
Chris, you want to tell them about your idea?
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
When Dawn got here, I was like, you know what? We need to shoot a video. And you know what? I was thinking of movies that people our age should expose if you have children to.
Well, the youth of today.
The youth of today.
We think that it's a more coming of age into, like, you know, they need to have some, you know how, I mean, obviously I'm a parent, Chris isn't, but children of today, they seem to be inundated with so much technology and all sorts of movies that really don't seem to touch down on the things that we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris had a wonderful idea to come up
I
with.
have them every now and then.
Our top 10, each of us did a top 10 of 80's movies we think that should be part of their repertoire as far as like coming of age, and they need to see because Chris, tell
we
us,
grew up with.
There's like Chris works with younger people and they haven't seen certain movies, and
like for instance, there was there was this one kid who
don't give away the movie.
Okay, he was like actually he's not even a kid. He's like 27 years old, and he said he never saw this movie.
And he'll get to it because it's on his list.
And everybody in my whole workplace was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
I think because I have a 12-year-old and I've shown her, I think, one or two of these movies so far. But as she gets older, I plan on sharing more of these movies with her because I think it should be part of her youth and her growing up.
Absolutely.
So,
if it was a part of ours, it should be part of theirs.
should we start with our list? We
I
did
think
a
we
top
should.
10, and Chris and I both we both kind of like collabed, and we said, well, you do these, because we both had some of the same, and I'm like, no.
It was like baseball
It was
card
like
trading.
Exactly. We were like bidding. We're like, I'll take this and I'll trade you for that. All right.
No, I want this one. You take this one.
We're going to go from 10 to 1.
Yeah, 10 to
All right,
1.
so you can start. It's your thing.
My number 10 pick is Ghostbusters. Both of them, 1 and 2.
Tell them why.
Oh, come on. I mean, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and just I mean, who wasn't a kid in the 80s who didn't have the proton pack and the little, like, I remember as a kid I had the little projector that projected little ghosts on the wall, and then you'd blast them.
Ghostbusters is like your horror-friendly type of movie. It's
yes,
not
for when you're a little kid. It's not so
scary, but it has a lot of comedic flavor. You've got Bill Murray.
You got Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, Rick Moranis. Yeah, you can't go wrong. You really can't, and it's just so heartwarming.
It's a family movie.
It's just so much a family movie, and I definitely recommend you watch it, or have the younger generation watch it. All right, Dawn, your turn.
My number 10 is E.T. You can't have a childhood without E.T. I was 11 years old when I went to see E.T. My daughter has seen it a couple of times now. I was 11 years old. My grandmother took me to see it. It was like I think it was the premiere. We went down to the city to see it. It's the most heartwarming. It's it teaches you so many different things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the value of, like, the family itself. It was a broken family, but the boys and the daughter, they seem to come together to have this, obviously,
to
help this alien. It was this big secret that the boy was hiding, but it was about friendship and it was about loyalty, and it's so heartwarming, and it's just something you don't see anymore. I mean, not to the capacity that E.T. was made back then. It was, I mean, I remember just bawling my eyes out at certain scenes, and it's a never, like, you don't forget how touched you were with this movie, and I just think that it's something that should be something they see at least once.
Absolutely. Okay, my number 9 is The Great Outdoors with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd. Now, if anybody has ever gone on a vacation with their parents and their aunt and uncle, or as a family unit, you all can identify with this movie, because there's always something that goes wrong, and
Is that the one where he eats the steak?
Yes, the
Yes,
huge steak.
I love that
and the
scene.
bald-headed bear.
I love that
and
scene.
the bald-headed bear.
Yes.
Big bear! Big bear, chase me!
Well, the late John Candy, let me tell you,
God rest his soul.
seriously. I mean, this
God rest his
guy,
soul.
I think you have a little bit of his aura. He does have a little bit of his aura as far as like the sweetness and the comedic thing. It's just so, again, family oriented. It is comedy and slapstick, but it's so funny because it's so over the top ridiculous. But it's just a good share movie. Like,
yes, it definitely is. It definitely is.
All right, we ready for
What's your number 9, my dear?
Number 9 is 16 Candles. Last night, the night before, I was actually talking to this one.
Make a wish.
And 16 Candles came on after another movie, which I'll get to later. I am a big John Hughes fan. There will be a lot of John Hughes in my list. I love, love, love John Hughes movies. For me, Anthony Michael Hall. You guys, this day and age, everything this day and age is about the geeks being the popular. But back then, it was about the geeks being the non-popular.
Yes, and you're always rooting for them.
Exactly, you're always rooting for them.
The underdog.
You're always rooting for the underdog. Of course, there's Molly Ringwald, who's always the center of, the affection of somebody. And she was after the popular boy, which in certain movies, it's like, really? They
Why
get
are you
the
after
popular
that
boy
guy?
at the
He's a
end?
douche.
But for me, it was all about Anthony Michael Hall. It's if you are somebody who feels you're not accepted, or if you're like a geek, or if you feel you're out of,
watch this movie.
Watch this movie. It is so funny. It's, John Cusack is it, like all the really big stars that are so big and prevalent now. I mean, of course, now that, we're older, but this is where they got their start.
Yeah.
And it's such a sweet, sweet movie, and it's one of my favorites. So.
Yeah. My number 8 pick. So cute. Number 8 pick is Gremlins. You have to see Gremlins. It all starts out all sweet and innocent. It's this little guy. He's called a Mogwai, and his name is Gizmo. Now there are 3 rules: don't expose them to bright light, don't get them wet,
And don't feed them after midnight.
very good, honey. And so what happens is
Turmoil.
Yes,
Chaos.
yes. The guy accidentally gets Gizmo wet, and Gizmo. Family movie, like it is kind of. It's like on the same thing with Ghostbusters, where it's kind of scary, and it also has another actor who's in my top 5 here of other movies and stuff.
Who's the actor?
Corey Feldman.
Okay.
So definitely that's one of them. Your turn.
My number 8 is
number 8?
Dirty Dancing.
Ooh, yes.
You can't.
Nobody puts baby
You
in the corner.
cannot have a life without including Dirty Dancing.
Or the soundtrack.
Or the soundtrack to Dirty Dancing. For me, it is one of the, again, coming of age. If you meet the character, which is the main character is Baby, which is Jennifer Grey. And of course, Patrick Swayze, which is the bad boy, the guy that you should never go for, but she goes for. She's working at a camp. Her older sister is like the popular sister. She's kind of like the one in the corner. And Patrick Swayze is a resident worker. He is like the, kind of the entertainment there. And teaches her along the way how to express herself in a more confident way. She learns how to dance. She falls in love with him. It is a great love story. The music, the soundtrack is unbelievable. And it's just a feel-good movie. You're rooting for everybody. Plus, you're seeing just some really good moves and really good...
Oh. And a little side note, the guy who plays Baby's father is the guy who plays the voice of Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast.
And also used to be on
Law and Order, Jerry Orbach.
So, again, Dirty Dancing is absolutely... because it kind of prepares you for, like, that type of guy that, everybody makes... They have certain labels on him. Oh, he's got to be this or that and the other thing. Because there's a different story tied into it. I won't give you too much. But, Jennifer Grey falls for him, obviously. And it's just, I don't know. I love Dirty Dancing. I love Dirty Time of Your Life. Go on. I see it as number 7.
I feel the need.
The need for speed.
Top Gun, baby. That's right.
That's such a guy.
It is a guy. Dude, serious. dude.
Talk to the guys.
Yeah, guys, if there's any guys watching, Dave. My friend Dave. And but yeah, Top Gun is definitely one of those classic, like, cool as hell movies for guys. I mean, look at the cast: Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer. I would say Tom Skerritt, but nobody.
Well,
really,
back then
he was cool.
And then let's not forget Kelly McGillis.
Oh yes, Kelly McGillis. Yes,
female,
and Meg Ryan.
And Meg Ryan, of course, and
Edward. He was on ER.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. Thank you. He played Goose. But I definitely recommend seeing that, and the soundtrack for it is just
another
phenomenal.
soundtrack.
Yes,
It's amazing.
That's the thing about 80s movies, is that their soundtracks were just phenomenal. I mean, everybody would go out and buy the records.
Yeah, back
Or
then.
cassettes. No CDs, no downloading. That's all you had. Yep.
That was the way you got your music, but that's a whole other video.
Number 7 for you, my
Number
dear?
7 for me is Heathers.
Ooh.
For all of you goth kids, for all of you just out of the box, like not normal kids, the ones that feel like you're not understood and you're kind of just doing your own thing. Heathers, oh man. Now I'm not recommending that you do what they do in this movie, but it is so unbelievably just, all right. Again, it's placed in high school, but this is like the opposite of that. You know, like your white picket fence, good old high school story. This is not anything like that. And we've got some major stars in this one. We've got Christian Slater, we've got Shannon Doherty, we've got Samantha Mathis. Really great cast. And Christian Slater, I fell in love with Christian Slater in this movie. It is all about the outcasts. It's all about the geeks. Again, it's all about the real dark, deep ones that are not accepted. And we're all talking, these are heavy, heavy topics in this movie, but it's treated with just dark humor and sexuality and music and popularity. And it's such a great movie. You've got to rent it.
Absolutely.
Heathers is, yes, absolutely.
For you. Now you have to say it 3 times. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice! That's right. That's right. Michael Keaton in the 80s. Okay, Mr. Mom was good too, but Beetlejuice was just like, Tim Burton's crowning achievement.
Absolutely.
And oh my God, another one like Ghostbusters or Gremlins, where it's kind of got like a scary element type, but
it's a comedic horror film.
So funny.
It's hysterical. Again, it's about, a family that moves into this haunted place because this couple
recently died.
Exactly.
And they're haunting the place, and they're still trying to come to grips that they're dead.
And Michael Keaton makes this whole movie.
Oh, yeah, he definitely
absolutely.
makes this
I mean, you've got
movie.
big stars. You've got Alec Baldwin. You've got Gina Davis. You've got Winona Ryder. But it's definitely all about Michael Keaton.
If you
think Batman was his best role, no.
You got to see Beetlejuice.
This is the role I think he pretty much put himself
I
out
agree,
there.
totally.
I completely think he did. All right.
Number 6, my dear.
For me, it is, now this is for the older teens, or the ones up there. This was my first opening to this is a music movie, Purple Rain.
Oh my God.
All right, I went to see this when I was 15 years old, okay? I don't recommend this for anybody under that age. I'm waiting for my daughter to get a little older because there's a lot of sexual stuff going on. But if you want to see a great legend, you've got to see Prince in Purple Rain. The entire movie, again, this is a very dark, deep story. This was based on his story, based on his dad, based on his, home life, and how he created this song as a result of his father and the way that his father was treating his mother. It's a painful story. There's all sorts of things. I mean, you see the camaraderie with him and Morris Day of the Times. They first have like a nemesis thing going, and then there's a camaraderie. The movie is fantastic. It is all about music. It's about sexuality. It's about growing into realizing what you want to do as far as being a musician, and and of course, it's got all of those elements. And again, if you want a terrific soundtrack to see on screen, you've got to rent Purple Rain.
And now we've come to the top 5.
Uh-oh. Five.
That'd be cool.
All right.
Effects.
All you, go ahead.
Okay, my number 5 movie that kids should be exposed. That young adults.
This generation.
This generation
right?
should definitely be exposed to, and is the one I was talking about. My coworker never seeing, The Goonies. Oh,
I don't know how anybody.
I don't know exactly. How can anybody have not seen The Goonies? I mean, hey, you guys, come on.
I mean, you've got
or
Sean
the Truffle
Astin.
Shuffle.
Exactly.
Sean Astin, Corey Feldman, Josh Brolin. That Chinese kid who was in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Well, if you're into cosplay and if you're if you go to Comic-Con, you already know what The Goonies is. But if you're not, if you're just entering in that phase, this is the kind of movie you need to see. You cannot go to Comic-Con and not know what The Goonies is because you will be laughed at.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Just
You'll
saying.
be embarrassed.
Just saying.
I mean, I remember when I was a kid and I saw this movie, all I wanted to do was go in my backyard, look for pirate treasure. It's just...
Absolutely.
It's just
it's great for the imagination. It's great. It's about friendship. It's about how these guys,
just bond together to try and save their neighborhood.
It's so
it's so
My number 5,
honey.
going along with that, is Stand By Me.
Oh, yeah.
Another
film with Mr.
coming
Corey
of
Feldman.
age. Corey Feldman, River Phoenix, Jerry O'Connell, Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
You've got 4 young boys who are going. This is based on a Stephen King short story. If you're a Stephen King fan, if you're a horror fan, if you're into that kind of genre, you will love Stand By Me. Again, it is another coming of age. These 12-year-old boys are going on an expedition to see a dead body. And of course, along the way, all the things that go along with that. It is such a heartwarming story. You see camaraderie, you see friendship. You really get a sense of wanting to be that age. You want to go on that journey with them.
Adventure with
Richard Dreyfuss is in this movie too as the older Will Wheaton.
Who else is in it that
Who else is in it?
He plays the bad guy.
Plays the bad guy?
Ace.
Oh, Kiefer Sutherland! Do I forget? Kiefer Sutherland. You'll hear from him later.
I was going to say, you're going to hear from him again.
Yeah. So again, it's based in the 50s, I believe.
Yes.
And it's such a wonderful, wonderful story. If you read Stephen King, I believe it was a short story, which I can't... The Body, it's called. The Body is the short story, and this is such a great adaptation from that story. So that's my number 5.
Okay, my number 4, and it's just the first 2, not the third one, because I wasn't crazy about that. The Karate Kid. Not the one with Jaden Smith. The original. Not the one with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. No offense to him.
No.
But...
Or Hilary Swank.
No.
We're talking Ralph
Macchio. And Pat Morita, God rest his soul.
Elizabeth Shue.
Who looked weird. But, oh my God, I mean, that was definitely one of those movies that, made you,
It was like our generation's Rocky.
Yes, because it was basically this kid he was a new kid in town, getting picked on by all the the blonde hair, blue eyed kids.
Exactly. If you're
and then all of a sudden that he Mr. Miyagi, this old Japanese man, comes along, gives him confidence in himself.
It's a great movie for anti-bullying.
Bingo.
It's a wonderful movie for anti-bullying because Daniel takes on a skill which he learns through his mentor,
Mr. Miyagi.
And he builds himself up. There's all this. He was this little scrawny kid, and now he's got this confidence, and it's just a wonderfully wonderful movie. And yes, there are other versions, but you've got to see the original.
This is the original, and it's the best. In our opinion. Now,
are we ready for number 4?
Number 4 for Dome.
This is for the older kids. We're going again. College age. St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh my God.
This has got to be, again, I'm a big, again, with John Hughes, but we're talking college kids, college life, the way it is when you graduate college, how some struggle and some succeed and some are still in the middle and some are just, they're born to do something and even though they try at something else, they're born to do one thing. And it's just so many different topics, so many different areas of things that you relate to every single character. I related to every single character. You've got Rob Lowe, you've got Judd Nelson, you've got Ali Sheedy, you've got Andrew McCarthy, you've got Emilio Estevez. I mean, it's just, and they're all really good-looking people, and they go through all these things.
Oh, Demi Moore's in it too.
And Demi Moore, actually, yes. And oh my God, it's just. If you're college, just finish college, and the struggles of what life is like after that life, how sometimes it's hard to move on as an adult, how sometimes it's hard to, veer away from all the things that you were and when you were in college. It's such a great movie. I love it, and you need to see it. It's got to be on your list.
Absolutely. Okay.
Oh, no, he took one of my favorites.
And we're down to number 3.
He took one of my favorites ever.
We're down to number 3. Now. Of course, it's kind of dated now, but...
No, it's never dated.
Oh, it's never dated. The Back to the Future trilogy. Oh my God, Michael J. Fox, I love you for these 3 movies, and Christopher Lloyd, God bless you too, sir. Because, oh my God, nothing was ever more cool than seeing a time-traveling car, especially a DeLorean. And
it's what we all wish for.
Yeah, exactly.
We all want to go back in
time travel. Yeah, exactly. Or go in the future, or
experience what we were like when we were younger.
Of course, see what our parents were like when they were kids.
Exactly.
I mean, my God. Well, we don't really want our mothers hitting on us when we were kids, but that's beside the point. So, but yeah, these movies in them, everything was just great. I mean, if anybody does not watch this movie, they've got something wrong with them.
That sums it up.
Yep. Well, I kind of think Dawn agrees with me on that.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, first of all, Michael J. Fox was my first crush ever. Family Ties, I watched that religiously. And so when Back to the Future came out, forget about it. Plus, you've got a cameo from Huey Lewis in the news.
Yes.
Which is hysterical.
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
You've got Crispin Glover. You've got
Leah Thompson as his mom.
And it's just, again, it's so much fun to watch. And of course, Christopher Lloyd being the the mad scientist kind of thing.
And you'll get a line from that, like that you wouldn't help repeating, like,
there's a lot
"Hey,
of
McFly."
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So please go on Netflix, Hulu, whatever, and watch it. Please.
Ready for my number 3?
Go, girl.
Pretty in Pink.
Pretty in Pink.
All right. So again, along the lines of John Hughes and Molly Ringwald, again being the epicenter, but she is a only child being raised by her father, who obviously the mom walked out on their lives. And Molly Ringwald, again, she is that underdog, that kind of like she goes her own way, wears her own style, she makes her own clothes. She's ridiculed, but at the same time, she's also being watched. Like, here's James Spader. Here's where James Spader, for me, it opened up a whole world, because there is the, like, your typical villain, but
he plays a jerk really well.
But at the same time, he's kind of like into her and jealous that she's not paying any attention. You have, of course, her love interest, which is Andrew McCarthy. But what makes this movie is John Cryer. Before 2.5 Men, he was Ducky. He was Ducky. And he was the lovable Ducky Dale. And he is her best friend, but at the same time, he's kind of like into her, but she doesn't get it. And there's a cameo from Andrew Dice Clay. You just get, again, it's like that typical girl meets guy, but at the same time, there's so many obstacles, and she has her own obstacles because she is somebody different. She doesn't acclimate to the popular kids, and that's a big deal in this world. Everybody needs to be popular, but you really don't. You need to be yourself, and that's why I think Pretty in Pink is such a great movie.
Absolutely.
Gives off that entire message, and that's my 3.
My number 2. And it's totally a guy thing. The Indiana Jones trilogy. I mean, come on. I mean, the 3 movies, he goes after 3 major religious artifacts, and it's just an adventure which is just unbelievable. I mean, you get into it with him, especially the 3rd one. Him and Sean Connery are so funny together. Who wouldn't want... I mean, what little kid didn't want to be Indiana Jones, going out there, getting your little piece of rope and just pretending it's a whip and you're not a boy? And,
that's true.
and then getting the beautiful girl at the end, and aw, and just finding like a piece of treasure that's just like never seen before. But I mean, it just sets your imagination on fire, and it's just one of those things you never forget. I know, I'm so cheesy.
That's so touching.
I'm so cheesy.
That's so touching.
I'm so cheesy.
Number 2 for me. It's a huge one. All right, when I was about 15 years old, I sat there with my girlfriend, and if my girlfriend is watching this, she knows what I'm talking about. We sat in her apartment, literally watched this movie 14 times in a row. It is The Lost Boys.
Oh.
I'm sorry, forget Twilight, forget your Vampire Diaries, forget Teen Wolf, forget all that stuff. This is the original. This is the cast alone. You got Kiefer Sutherland, you've got Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, you've got Billy Wirth, you've got Alex Winter. Forget it. This movie set the
Jason
tone.
Patrick.
And Jason Patrick. Oh my God, I forgot all about it.
Yeah.
Diane Wiest. This movie set
Herman,
the
God rest his soul.
tone for all of those vampire movies. It's got to be the coolest vampire movie ever made. Like, bottom line. And you see vampires. It's not glittery little, painted.
Yeah.
Maybe. This is all about, these are high school age kids, maybe older, depending. And it's about a family that moves into Santa Carla, California, coming from, again, single family. She just divorced her husband, that kind of thing. So she brings her 2 sons to Santa Carla, and this is what goes on. And the older son gets involved with the vampires, and the younger son is kind of getting involved with, how his friends. The thing is, it's hysterical, it's scary, it's sexy, it's the best. I am putting it out there. The best vampire movie ever made in this generation. So I say, I pass it on to you. You need to go rent this movie. One for you.
Okay, number 1 has to be... Actually, you know what?
Go ahead.
The Star Wars trilogy. Even though the first one came out in 1977, and the second one, The Empire Strikes Back came out in 1980, but still, those are like movies that you have to see. It's like, the same thing with Indiana Jones, or you just have to see it. Because it's like, it's so much part of pop culture now.
Well, put it this way, they're making more now, so you couldn't be able to get into that if you don't see.
Exactly.
We're talking, all right, well, obviously Star Wars was 1977, but Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi were in the 80s.
Yep.
And forget the rest of them. I mean, you need to watch the original
the original
trilogy.
3.
Never mind the ones that were made a few years ago. Never mind. You need to watch
the original
Star
3.
Wars, Return of the Jedi. Well, Empire
Star
Strikes
Wars,
Back and
Empire
Return
Strikes
of the
Back
Jedi.
and Return of the Jedi.
I'm a Return of the Jedi girl. I'm just saying.
Hey, I like it too.
Are we ready for my number 1?
Go number 1, girl.
You guys probably should know this by now because I wear the shirts all the time, but it is The Breakfast Club. Again, it encompasses every single movie I've mentioned. You're talking about main kids that have they're all different types. We've got the brain, we've got the recluse, we've got the bad guy, we've got the princess, we've got the jock. All of them are forced to be together in detention, and they literally learn about each other. All of the ones with the labels and all the stigmas and all that kind of stuff, and you learn with them, you cry with them, you realize that everybody has their own individuality, but at the same time they all can be brought together, and they all can have a common, respect for each other, because they really do. And again, I mean, who can't love friggin' Judd Nelson in this? Molly Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, Ali Sheedy, Anthony Michael Hall. Again, we're focusing on, the ones that are not so popular to the popular ones. It's such a great story, and again, you need an hour for all of these. But
we have honorable mentions. Because we have
we
had too many, we couldn't put on a top 10.
My 2 honorable mentions. Number 1 is Say Anything with John Cusack. The kind of guy that the father doesn't want the daughter with. The daughter is a rich girl, but there's stories, underlying stories. There's so many underlying stories, but John Cusack is that guy that I would fall for. Literally, he's the guy I would fall for. The strange, the weird, the out of the box, the one that is just, he's the guy. I would fall for him. And my other one is Less Than Zero. We're talking Robert Downey Jr. Before Iron Man, before Sherlock Holmes, there was Less Than Zero. You want to see what Robert Downey Jr., his real ability in acting, you've got to rent that. Jamie Gertz, again, Andrew McCarthy, and James Spader. It's a very deeply, again, after college, that whole thing, but now we're talking about the involvement of drugs and heroin and that lifestyle, that rich kid lifestyle, what it can do to you. And it's an important movie to rent, and it's a great movie. And Robert Downey Jr. is absolutely awesome in both of them. So
he's remarkable.
Just saying.
As it is.
Just saying. Well, not actually, he's not in Say Anything, but he's awesome in Less Than Zero.
Okay. One of my honorable mentions is, and I think it's on the reading list of every 7th grader, I hope, in America, The Outsiders. Stay gold, pony boy. Stay gold. Another one with an all-star cast who got their start. Tom Cruise, Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon, C. Thomas Howell, Ralph Macchio.
Leif Garrett.
Oh, okay.
Diane Lane.
Okay, we named all the
My
cast.
favorite book of all time, all time. And when I saw this, it really portrayed the book that S.E. Hinton wrote.
Very well.
Thank you for mentioning this because So we love so much that we're talking, but go on about The Outsiders.
So The Outsiders, and like we already mentioned the cast, but it's definitely like one of those coming of age books and movies if I'm sure 7th grader to 8th grader is made to read it. And I was too. And if your school is not, I definitely recommend you make them because it's a work of art. And the movie is too. It really is.
Absolutely. So that is it.
So that's it
for our top 10 movies that absolutely this generation should include at some point in their life. We think that they're important. I mean, they were part of our
lives.
Generation. I mean, my generation history. He was a different generation than me. I was the 70s, 80s, but still. And we're going to be doing more top 10s like this, probably every third video.
And then if you want, give us ideas. List them below.
Obviously. But this was a lot of fun. Thank you to Chris for this idea. And we will see you
next time. Bye now.